We're going to be working on lesson 15 in the Breezy Z Drum Method book. We're going to work on exercise number 6. Now, in the previous, on the rest of the page, we were working with the 5-stroke roll. Remember, a 5-stroke roll is when you have 2 eighth notes connected with a tie, a curved line. And on one of those eighth notes, you're going to have 2 extra lines put on it. If in the 2 eighth notes that are connected, if the double lines happen in the beginning of the eighth notes, that I call that a front-ended 5-stroke roll, which means it happens right away. So if your so it'll sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have 2 eighth notes and the second one is connected and to the next set of eighth notes, and you have the double line on the second eighth note of the set, that I call a back-ended 5-stroke roll, which means that it happens on the back end of the eighth notes, and that's on the and of the eighth notes. So it'll be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you were to count in eighth notes, it'll be 1, roll, and roll, and roll. Let's look at exercise number 6. In the first part of exercise number 6, the junior band march, we start with flams. We're going to look at the snare drum part, which are the notes going up. So we start with flams. 1, 2, 1, and then the second beat are eighth notes, 2, and the next measure we have a back-ended combination. So we have 1 and 2 and 1, rest, 2, rest. Let's put that together again. We have 1, 2, slam on 1, then you have 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, rest, 1, rest. Let's look after the repeat sign. The next measure we have 1 and rest on 2 and 1 and rest on 2 and then you start with a 5-stroke roll because the eighth notes are connected right from the beginning, and they have the double line on the first note of the 2 eighth notes. So it'll be 1, 5. But then if you notice, immediately after, we have a back-ended combination. So we have 1 eighth note, and then you have your 5-stroke roll. So it'll be 1, 1, 2, 4, 5. So that measure will be 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5. We're going to count it in eighth note. So it'll be 1 and 2 and 1. And then the rest of the measure is and 2 and. Let's start from the double bar, the repeat sign, and we're going to play just the rest of the second half of that line. We have 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 5 and 2 and. We're on the next line. We have 1 and rest and 1 and rest and. This is the same thing we just had. We start with a front-ended 5-stroke roll, followed by a back-ended 5-stroke roll. So it'll be 1, 2, 5, 1, 1, 2, 5, rest on 2. I'm going to do that one measure one more time. We have 1, 2, 5, 1, 1, 2, 4, 5, 2. Let's keep going. The next part of the line. 1 and rest and rest and rest and 1 and rest and rest and rest and. We're on the last line, the third line. We start with a 5-stroke roll. 1, 5, 2, and then there's a repeat sign, which means we do that again. 1, 5, 2, and. Now we're on box number 1. It's an internal repeat. So we're going to play box number 1. At the end of box number 1, you have your repeat sign, which means we go back to the very first line, but we do not go back to the beginning of the song. We only go back to the repeat sign, which is halfway through the first line. But this time when we play through, once we get to the third line, we skip over box 1 and we play box 2 because it's the second time we're playing the song. So here is box number 1. 1 and 2 and 1, rest on 2. Let's go back to the first line. Halfway through at the repeat sign, we have 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 5-stroke roll. 1, 2, 5, another 5-stroke roll, but it's back end. 1, 1, 5 and 2 and. Next line. 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 1, 2, 5, 1, 1, 2, 5, rest on 2. 1 and rest and rest and rest and and rest, and rest, and rest, and next line, 5-stroke roll. 1, 5, 2, and again, 1, 5, 2, and. This is the second time we're playing the song, so we skip over box 1 and we play box 2. We have 1 and 2 and 1, rest, 2, rest. Let's go back to the very beginning of the song and walk through the whole thing one more time. Let's also notice where it says forte and piano. Look at the double at the repeat sign halfway through the first line. You'll see it says P and then it has a dash and it says MF. But it tells you they want you to play the first time you play the song soft. And then when we go, after we play box 1 and we go back to the beginning and we repeat it, the second time they want you to play it MF, medium loud, mezzo forte. So it means they want you to play it soft the first time you play the song and loud the second time you play the song. But it's not as loud as where you see just the plain old F, which means forte, which means loud. So you're going to play really loud in the beginning. You're going to play through the song once piano, and then when you get to box number 1, it will be forte loud. Then we repeat back to the beginning where the repeat sign is. We're going to play it mezzo forte, medium loud. But when we get to the last line and we skip over to box 2, that box 2 is played loud again. So let's add our dynamics into the mix. Here we go. Starting with flams. 1, 2, ready, play. Flam, flam, flam. 2 and 1, 2 and 1, rest, 2, rest. Now we're going to play soft. 1 and rest, and 1 and rest, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and next line. 1 and rest, and 1 and rest, and 1 and 2 and 1, rest on 2. 1 and rest, and rest, and rest, and 1 and rest, and rest, and rest, and last line. 1 and 2, and again, 1 and 2, and now this is forte loud, box number 1. 1 and 2, and 1, rest on 2. Repeat back to the middle of the first line. This time we're going to play it a little bit louder. Here we go. 1 and rest, and 1 and rest, and 1 and 5. 1, 5, and 2, and 1 and rest, and 1 and rest, and 1 and 5. 1 and 5, rest on 2. 1 and rest, and rest, and rest, and 1 and rest, and rest, and rest, and last line. 1 and 5, 2 and 1 and 5, 2 and. This is the second time we're playing the song, so we skip over to box number 2, and we have nice and loud. 1 and 1, rest, 2, rest. I'm going to play it through again. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest on 2, repeat louder. And rest, and rest, and rest, rest on 2. 1 and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2. We're only going to be working with the snare drum line. You're more than welcome to go through and play the bass drum line as well. You will hear both parts in the recording. Try to play along with the recording so that way you can hear the bass drum keeping the beat. 1, 2, ready, play. Box 1. repeat. Buck 2. Great job. I can't wait to hear recordings.